our band. Those of you who may know your part already, please join me now. 1, 2, 3.
Raincoat.
Watching on the scene.
Please stay in your seat until the captain turns off the seatbelt sign. Red-eye flight, but I never fell asleep last night. Everything's new and
Subscribe to each other's calendars, but we're basically just blocking out time, and we put time aside to write, we put time aside to tour, and we kind of like schedule it all.
Yeah, I think in general, not just with this project, but like because we are kind of gluttons for punishment as far as taking on a lot of stuff and just like there's so much stuff we want to do in music that the key has definitely been iCal, or been just learning how to really schedule things like better than I ever had to learn before, you know, and schedule things really far out and just sort of stick to that this time is for this project, this time is for this, and things always come up, but I mean, we're still learning how to do that, but it's kind of like the key to indie rock success. Well, we met in exotic Buffalo, New York, in a snowstorm in October of 2003. I had a band called the Animators then, and we were just doing our first tour, and Amber was just starting, wanting to get into music, and she met a friend of ours, Joel Ackerson, out on the West Coast, and he invited her and another friend of ours to follow him on a tour, and he was playing a show with us, so he showed up with these two kids, and we became fast friends, and we just hung out ever since. So the name actually comes from the story that we've been writing. So all the songs in the Paper Raincoat relate to the central story that we've been working on. And the story is about a woman named Grace. She's in her 50s, and she kind of is, or she's not in her 50s, she's about to turn 50, and she's kind of looking back on her life and kind of reassessing her choices and kind of having some regret as to the way that her life had played out, and she kind of traces things back to her family and her dad, who was an inventor. He was kind of a failed inventor. He made a lot of inventions and lost a lot of money that never really panned out. And his greatest invention, like the thing he staked his life savings on, was this thing called the Paper Raincoat. And he kind of blew all the family money on this invention, and it didn't sell, and so it kind of tore the family apart. So she gets a call in present day. She's on the nearing 50, and her dad had died, and she was the only living family member left. So she had to go back and take care of his affairs, and she hadn't seen him in years and years. So she goes back to his house where they grew up, and was digging through his stuff and found the plans for the paper raincoat invention, and it kind of spurs a lot of emotion in her, and it makes her make a decision to try to kind of redo some of the steps that she had taken in her life, and she decides to pursue writing and start doing some of the things that she'd always wanted to do. So she decides to write a book, and she calls it The Paper Raincoat. And the book is kind of about a character, a girl who is really her as a young girl, and it's kind of like her making the decisions and doing the things that she had wished that she had done. So that's kind of how the story begins. I think that the reason I do music is because it's the way that I learn about myself the most. And it's like performing and all the different facets of it. I feel like I've discovered parts of my personality through them. Performing has taught me a whole lot about my fears, about my things that I like about myself, and it also kind of feels like me the most in any other part of my life.
Hey, we have a really special friend in the audience tonight, and we're gonna try. You guys actually don't know this, but we're gonna try something, and I need you guys to help us with this. It's her birthday, and her name is Lois. Here's your pitch. La 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 la. We're gonna sing happy birthday to Lois. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lois. Happy birthday to you. Okay, keep clapping.
Let's go to tape cause it catches the soul. When the red light turns on, count it all, let it roll. Do it all live and commit to one take. Kick your shoes off, it's time. Are you ready to play? You can stand against the wall or else get in real tight. Just give it your all and This one's not right. Rewind back to the beginning. Rewind. Rewind back to the beginning. Rewind. So I tore down my defenses and stood in the light. Took off my hat, pushed it aside. The songs they hung heavy, exposed at the seams like your old worn down sneakers and corduroy jeans. The guitar was tuned down, so I played me upright, but I played it all wrong and the click was too tight. Rewind back to the beginning. Rewind. Rewind back to the beginning. Rewind. Tear out the pages. My heart races. Take one big deep breath before we reset. You're pushing too hard